Hello listeners, and welcome to Tales from the Dark Dragon's Inn, Episode 6, A Storm Rises. Before we get started today, I just want to give a quick thank you to some of our dedicated supporters. Dice Paper Roll, thank you. Miserable G on Twitter, thank you. Bunny Boops, an amazing artist and friend, thank you. Tahina Undale, thank you for your continuing and ongoing support. Seeing you in our notifications has been great fun. Rob of Lore Masters on iTunes, thank you. I look forward to listening more as your show develops. This week we're a man down. We have Liz playing Toby the Tiefling Warlock of the Raven Queen, Vinny playing Murren the Half-Orc Monk, Nina playing Nyx the Aasimar Warlock of the Fae, and me, Ray, your host and Game Master. And I play, well, just about everyone else. Hey, come on in! You were lucky to get tickets tonight. I hear it's going to be a big one. This place is packed! Oh, shh. Quick, take a seat. Looks like the Doomsinger's ready. Good patrons, welcome, and thank you. Your continued appearance for my humble recounting of these fanciful memories does not go unappreciated. However, I must warn you, those who are faint of heart may wish to excuse themselves before we get started this evening. I ask those with children in the audience to please try to remain calm, for it was on this very night, all those many years ago, when the legend of the Scales of Justice truly began, in Greenest's darkest hour.
Murren and Doomsinger are outside of the room. You guys are in conversation.
Well, I guess we'll probably be about our next plan of action.
We have been in town for a rather long time. Do you think we're getting paid for this?
I think so.
So you guys are having this conversation, and the Doomsinger's trying to pry out of you the reason why you left the room, because, well, you're a religious sort. Why are you uncomfortable? I've never known you to turn down a challenge. Is it because she's not a priest of your dragon beast?
Well, I'm not one back down from a challenge, to say the least, but I feel what I feel right now.
It's difficult to explain to him. You're trying to rationalize it, but you realize that you're struggling to rationalize it to yourself. And,
I suppose just being cautious.
Well, I suppose as long as you're not too cautious between me and whatever's in front of me, it's not too much of a problem as far as I'm concerned. You guys are having this conversation. In the meantime, the rest of you are healing up in the private room with Aiden, who is still in quiet prayer. Nyx, you notice the doctor, who up until now has been chatting away about how, I don't believe in any of this nonsense, and it's totally fine. I'm not going to turn up a chance of healing. I just think the gods are... And he's gotten increasingly quiet. You notice as you're feeling rather comfortable yourself, the doctor appears to have nodded off, and he's slowly slipping into the chair that he sat down on. He's standing there with his arms crossed, and he's eventually sort of just slowly curled over into a chair. He's like, I'll just sit here and watch this.
Nyx is giggling at watching him kind of slump.
He slowly just puddles. You see a little bit of as a drool.
She thinks it's hilarious.
As he is curled up asleep. And you're all feeling very relaxed and warm and cuddly. Murren, you're outside the room with Doomsinger. You notice that the guards by the door are looking at each other really nervously, and they're having sort of like a hush conversation between them. You start to hear in the distance sounds of alarm, shouts of something, but you can't quite make it out. It's a bit too distant. However, before long, all of you are snapped out of your snuggly by a clamorous ringing of a bell, as the bell which is in the keep that has ceased to be ringing suddenly starts ringing with a great fury. Murren, you start to see the townsfolk in the room start looking around alarmed, and the guards are trying to keep them calm and move them into the various rooms. You see a few of the guards that rush out into the corridors and out of the room that you're in. Doomsinger looks over at you and says, what do you think that's about?
Guess I'll go find out. Can I approach one of the guards?
He is a short, scruffy-looking dragonborn, and he turns to you and says, what can I do for you? Is it urgent?
Say, sir, what's all the fuss?
The attack appears to be escalating. I'm not sure. I've been in here all evening, but it's... And then you hear a loud buffeting of wind as the windows in the building that you're standing in begin to shake. You see the ceiling above you, just little bits of dirt and stone tremble, just this increasingly loud, almost drumbeat-like sound. You guys in the comfort of the prayer room have been hearing this bell, and obviously you rather rudely awakened and snapped out of this as you begin to feel the building yourselves begin to tremble, and all at once the silence is broken.
Mix violently shoots up. What was that?
You also hear that, Morin. A great roar bursts through like a crack of thunder.
I shoot my eyes over at Doomsinger.
Doomsinger shrugs.
I turn back to the guard.
He is wide-eyed and looking panicked, and he's looking around to someone else for direction.
God, where's the captain?
Out there, I think. In the distance, you hear, "Man the barracks! Grab the drums!" You do hear the voice of Captain screaming orders at people from the courtyard.
Toby gets up and he shoots a glance at Mix before leaving the room very fast.
You feel waves of terror emanating from Oz.
Yeah, he's gone from relaxed to like maximum anxiety. So he leaves the room, and I want to look for the best vantage point that he can get to see what's going on around the keep.
You look around, but it looks like this area is quite densely packed with townsfolk. People are starting to panic now. They've obviously also heard this roar, and people are sort of fluttering around. The guards are trying to keep people calm, but also themselves look really panicked. You're seeing holding onto the kids, trying to tell them things will be okay. There's just a clusterfuck going on in here. From inside, you get the sense you're not going to get a good idea of what's going on outside at this point. Mix, what is Mix doing as she sees Toby charge out of the room?
Mix wants to know what's up and follows after Toby because Toby looks very intense and things sound scary, and Mix wants to know what's going on. So yeah, she follows him.
The doctor in his chair, you hear as you leave the room, he just turns over in his chair.
She's gonna run back to him first. Not slap him, but maybe slap him. Get him to wake up.
You try and smack him, and you're not really willing to hurt him, so you swat at him, and his hand just sort of reflexively flips up by his face. He's like,
What if I pull the chair up from underneath him? I'm gonna go after Toby. Doctor will figure it out.
Zilpip follows out after. He's like, this should be interesting. What's all the fuss then? Murren, you are by the door to the tower as you see the others start rushing out of the room. The Doomsinger turns and says, I suppose we're going to investigate then?
Yes, I think we should go and assist the captain.
Groa also follows out.
Doomsinger, on me.
Doomsinger saunters after everyone. He will rush for no man.
Not even a dragon.
You guys rush out of the building. You rush down the stairs of the tower and try and navigate between guards. And one of the guards tries to stop you, then realizes who you are and gestures to the door. He's like, the captain's over there! Edric tailing behind the Doomsinger, and you see he's holding on to his little golden sword, and he's looking really concerned, like he really doesn't want to go out there, but he's got to follow the Doomsinger, so he's reluctantly tailing you guys, and you guys make your way out into courtyard.
Whoa, that's a lot of fucking token. Oh my god.
I don't know that many. Okay, yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, I zoomed out.
I'm like, you guys zoom out.
Oh! Oh.
I don't think Mike sees this, but
As you guys rush out into the courtyard, a great shadow passes over you all, and you look up at what appears to be a large adult blue dragon.
Oh no, we're dead.
As it lets rip another furious roar, and a noise like thunder cracks the sky as it lets a pure force of lightning forth. And as it sweeps down over the keep, lightning leaps forth from its mouth and takes out just a swathe of the guards that are on the ramps. These guys just fucking crumple. Don't even have time to scream. They just explode into ash as the lightning crushes through them. The captain in the middle of the courtyard is pointing wildly and giving orders. He's like, on the ballista! Take that thing down! Protect the townspeople! You're there! Get those civilians out of here! These guards grab these civilians. Come on, into the keep!
Toby is gonna dismiss Oz because he needs a clear head and he can't have his head full of raven-filled anxiety. Yeah.
That's fair.
He'll summon
Mix
him
kinda,
again
like,
later.
falls
Yeah.
down on her butt because she can't believe what's happening and is mildly terrified.
Do I see Escobar?
He is the dwarven captain. He is in the middle of the courtyard and he is screaming orders at his troops. He's telling them to get onto the ramparts, get to the ballista. He's doing what he can
Okay.
to keep people organized, but still keep them in position and in defense of the keep, because he knows right now that his number one priority is making sure that whatever happens, as many people as possible live.
Yeah. Okay. I'll rush over to him.
Scraw's looking up. Toby, you notice in Scraw's face is lit. He looks like the most excited child at Christmas you've ever seen. What a mighty foe! He starts charging towards the ramparts. He's
Is
Maybe follow.
canonically Goku.
Toby's gonna follow behind him, but mostly because he wants to get up there to get a better view of what else is going on. He doesn't believe the dragon is the only thing that they need to be worried about. Although it is a major
Sure.
fucking concern.
Nix, you are sitting on your butt. Toby goes rushing off after Scraw.
I think they're crazy, but I don't.
Zilpip's like, very unusual. I bet the doctor'd like those teeth.
I bet he would. Mix reluctantly gets up, brushes herself off, and rushes after Toby, who's gone after Scraw, because though she's
The Doomsinger
terrified,
starts pursuing Murren.
she doesn't
Murren
want to
sp-
leave her friend, and also
Okay.
she's concerned Scraw's going to get himself killed.
And possibly Toby killed as well.
Yeah, so
Um,
someone's got to look after them.
So you guys are sort of dividing up. Murren, you rushed over to Escobar. What for?
Captain.
What'd you say?
How can we assist?
There are ballista, large ballista on the ramparts. You can use those to defend. And as he's saying this, the dragon launches itself in another massive swoop. It dives at the walls of the front of the castle, slams both of its front feet into the wall, and stops at an abrupt halt as it sort of swings forwards and collides with its feet into the walls. And you see the whole thing shake violently. It rears up and slashes with one claw, taking out the bulk of the guards that were standing in front of it, as well as two of the ballista on the ramparts. And as it does so, it once again lets out an almighty roar. Toby, you are afraid. You cannot progress further towards the dragon. You see Zil freeze on the spot. The Doomsinger continues to saunter towards Murren.
Of course it does.
He's fearless.
Urgency? What the hell is that?
And you are terrified, Toby. I don't know if you start running. You, at the very least, freeze. Nix, you sort
Yeah,
of
he
look
just
up
stops
and
dead.
You see this dragon smashing and obliterating people, and you turn and you're looking around. You're seeing your friend's part, and you see Murren grab at his head, scream out in pain. Murren falls to his knees, and he's clutching his head and screaming out. Doomsinger's looking at him, sort of gets closer. It's enough of that. Snap out of it. Murren continues to scream, and you see Doomsinger look at him in the face, and you actually see the Doomsinger go from aloof and, oh, priest, snap out of it. Pull yourself together, man. Looking really concerned, and then getting close to Murren. He goes, Murren? And it's the only time you've ever seen the Doomsinger show actual concern for anyone or anything. He looks up, he turns to the captain, he says, do something about this, get a medic or something! And then he looks down at Murren again, and he just looks up at the dragon and goes, what did you do? And he starts casting firebolt after firebolt after firebolt as he starts charging towards the wall, sting the dragon from a distance as hard as he Murren. As you look up into the eyes of the dragon before you, things darken and dim. It's like you're blinking, but in slow motion. And when your vision clarifies, you still see the eyes of the dragon above you. And for a moment, it's though you're looking up at Bahamut themselves. You shift uncomfortably beneath their gaze as the snowfall continues. The hazardous stone peaks around you are both alien and cold, but somehow deeply familiar. You look at the dragon again, unable to break their gaze, as some part of you realizes distantly, this doesn't just seem like Bahamut. This is Bahamut. They beat their magnificent platinum wings once, twice. Their almighty bulk alights gracefully in front of you. As they look down at you with an unexpected sadness, you feel a sense of deep shame and regret as they speak a single word.
Arendelonthos.
Your vision darkens. You open your eyes again once more, and you look around the keep with a slightly clearer vision than you had before. And as you look up, you blink and look around you, you see the Doomsinger is charging towards the gate, which the dragon has mounted, and he is firing firebolt after firebolt at this dragon, just whack, whack, with a fury that you haven't previously seen in him. You feel like you recall something about this dragon, but for reasons that you are not able to fathom, you know that this dragon is named Lenathan, and that although it is a chromatic rather than a metallic dragon, and though metallic dragons are usually good and pure, and chromatic dragons are often evil and twisted, this dragon is not normally hostile towards the lawful races, and in fact, in the past has worked with them. This seems uncharacteristic, and it occurs to you that there's a chance this creature can be reasoned with, possibly. Mix.
I react to Murren screaming and rush over and try and hold him, try and ground him somehow.
So you just rush over, and by the time you get him, he's on his knees, but he seems fine. He's quiet, and he looks like he's looking at this dragon and thinking just
Murren,
in general.
what's going on? Are you okay?
I'm fine. I think this dragon can be reasoned with.
What?
Just trust me.
What should we do? How do we reason with a gigantic lightning dragon?
I haven't the faintest idea. So it's
Mix's
paged
face
up.
humming.
Doomsinger's still like attacking it.
Dooms, yeah, absolutely. He's not aware of the fact that you seem fine. He's just blasting the dragon with firebolts.
Can I yell at the Doomsinger to stop
He's
what he's
singing
doing?
a song of like battle and glory as he fires. It's an ancient hymn. The words to the song that Doomsinger is bellowing don't make any sense to any of them, but they sound very musical and very melancholy.
Is he singing K-pop?
He is not singing in a language that any of you understand, so it kind of sounds almost ethereal, but it's also like violent and charged with energy as he just continuously casts these firebolts. The guards on the ramparts near where the dragon is have scattered. They are doing their best to get onto the ballistas. For the most part, they're trying to stay the fuck out of the way of this dragon, which has proven repeatedly that it is capable of destroying people without a second thought. Continues slower. You see him bringing out his halberd, slowly pacing towards the creature. You can see the wheels turning in his head as he's trying to work out how he should try and tackle this mighty beast.
If Mix screams out to Doomsinger and Scraw, could they hear her with all the commotion happening? Yeah, I want to try and get their attention to come back to where Murren and she is.
No, I don't think either of them pay any attention to you at all.
Jerks.
Where is Doomsinger?
Silpip sort of wanders over to Murren. I've got something that'll fix what ails you.
Oh god.
Doomsinger is standing beneath the gate going, ah! Except singing glorious metal melodies.
Can I just run to Doomsinger and try to tackle him from behind? Just to get him
Yeah,
to
so
stop.
go ahead and roll an athletics.
Oh, before I run off, I just say to Zilpip, don't do anything yet, and then I run off.
He's like,
Whilst
okay.
Murren's doing
That
that,
doesn't seem suspicious at all.
can I run after Scraw?
Murren, yeah, I mean, he's not resisting in any way. You sort of pull yourself up off the ground, you run over and try to tackle him. It doesn't knock him down, but you manage to restrain his arms long enough, and he looks up and goes, ah, priest. I knew you were fine.
Doomsinger, hold
Why
your
you stop
attacks.
him attacking this beast? It's destroying, and this dragon is still attacking. It's still smashing itself into the walls and slamming its claws down, biting at anything that comes close to it. I thought you wanted to help these people. Now you're stopping me. You're mad.
I can't explain it, Doomsinger, but I believe this creature can be reasoned with.
And
There
he
may
looks
be
at you like crazy.
an alternative, a more peaceful resolve.
I do hope you know I have none of my big abilities. I can't help you. And also, I don't speak with bloody dragons. Nix, you
If we
rush
can
up
avoid it.
and you up the stairs. As you get there, you see Scraw is holding his glaive out in front of him, and he's getting into a crouched pose as he's stalking forwards towards this dragon.
Toby comes to his senses as he sees Mix rush past
Yeah.
him and follows after her. Hey, wait, what?
Mix is gonna try and tackle Scraw down.
Wow.
You're just going to try and physically restrain Scraw.
No, not restrain him. Just tackle him.
This is going to be
the same
interesting.
thing. Athletics.
Athletics. All right, I can do this.
And
Oh,
it is
no.
contested, by the way, because Scraw's ready for some throwdown.
I can't wait.
Oh, hello.
It is contested, and Scraw's rolling with advantage because he is raging.
Oh, fuck.
He's raging and big.
What is your bonus?
Jesus.
Because he rolled a natural 20.
What the fuck, man? Can I inside check the DM?
What I'm kind of imagining at the moment
Joking,
is like
Jesus.
Mix running up and bouncing off
Well,
him.
Scraw, you rush over and you jump on Scraw's back. Because he's crouched, it's not hard, and he just stalks forward with you on his back, totally and utterly focused on the joy of battle. But you are grappling him, I guess.
Can I whisper into his ear? Scraw, stop!
Seeing
I
as
am
you
the
are
voice of
on,
reason. Stop!
you manage to break through to him, and he turns to look. You see him visibly relax, and then go, "Oh, I feel really tired."
Hi, Scraw. We can't fight the dragon.
What? Why? Why?
I know. I'm sorry. I don't want to be the one to tell you this,
He's
but we
killing
have to.
people.
I know, and we will stop him, but not
That's
like
terrible.
this. It is.
So what's happened is he's gone
Did
from
you see
looking
him?
like
He vaporized those men.
I know.
They
I'm-
probably had families and children.
Mix
Am I
just like
supposed to
takes
just
her
stand
hand
here
and
like
just like
this?
puts it over his mouth. Just hear me out. Myrn thinks it's possible we can reason with the dragon and stop.
Why would we reason with such a beast? It's murdering people, for God's sake!
And we can't murder it. We don't have the strength or the numbers or
Says
the
you.
might of a dragon.
He puffs his chest up. How dare you?
Okay, Scarlet,
thought
you
we were
are
friends.
a baby dragon.
Toby, back me
You
up
are
here.
A
Toby's
baby
just like,
dragon.
whoa, I think you're... It's like, okay, I agree, the dragon is a huge problem, but if there is a way that we can deal with it and not
This entire
die-
time, this dragon's just like smashing the shit out of the wall behind Scroll by like 40 to 60 feet and just repeatedly. You're trying to reason now that he's not worth killing.
Right, okay, I'm just like imagining that as Toby's having this conversation, like a
Bellowing.
piece of debris just flies overhead as Toby's trying to
Good
save it.
idea. Dex save.
Oh, come
Damn
on.
it, I fucked myself. Death by me having a idea the DM likes.
Nah, you fine. You're like sitting there. You're like, no, the dragon's a big problem. But we're gonna sort it. It's gonna be fine.
Look, we
hang
can
on.
try Morin's
My
idea,
headphone
and
wipe.
if that doesn't work,
Yep.
then we can all die in glorious battle against the dragon.
You're all against me. This is the worst.
I'm
He
kind
just
of,
drops off down this stairs.
I'm kind of imagining he's gone from like
It's like,
the
he turns
happiest-
to the guards behind him. Sorry, we're leaving you to your death. Enjoy what left remains of your
just for
life.
the record, Mix is still on his back, sort of like piggybacking at this point, while she's like talking
Yeah,
directly into his
exactly.
ear.
Toby's just watching this. This is bizarre, and follows behind them. Girl's going from like the happiest child at Christmas to the child who got coal at Christmas.
I was
He
cold
went
with cold.
from the kid who was given a PS4 box and opened it to find a box inside and opened that to find another box inside, and he kept going until it was like a pair of gloves his grandma gave him. Okay, the best
Aw.
of both. Sure. Yeah, right. Thanks, grandma.
I promise to make it up to you somehow and another time, maybe.
And
When-
then the next day, he walked in on his grandma playing the PS4, and then he went to complain to his
Oh.
parents about them having sex. That's school right now.
That's
Aw.
intense, man. Poor Scrub.
Wow. Yeah, I feel bad that Toby just talked him out of this.
Murren, you're restraining the Doomsinger. At this point, it's like, drugs. He's like, okay, we'll do it your way. But you're a madman. And as you turn around, you see Scrawl storming towards you just with this look of fury in his eyes. What did you do?
But he
Yeah,
has
it's like
Mix on
an
his back and
SMR.
Toby like walking beside him. This is weird.
I put my hand up. Grow.
Mix is like
Hold.
waving at Murren. Got him!
Whatever you're going to do it quickly. We can't sacrifice more lives for the sake of whatever this is.
I am gonna go up onto the rampart here. I don't want to get too
Squad
close.
does not let you go on your own. He's like, nah, fuck this,
Oh.
fam. He just follows you. He's just
Everyone's
like, if
kind
I'm
of-
going, if you're going, I'm going.
Mix is
Yeah.
still on Scrawl's back and it's just
Um,
gotten
yeah.
down.
Constantly
So.
following. Toby's just constantly following Squirrel because Mix is hanging from him.
I've lived a very long time. I've never seen this before. He's going to talk to a dragon. You approach the dragon. Dragon is snapping around. Every now and again, you see it bellow lightning up into the sky rather than down into the keep. It's almost like it's creating a scene at this point, demonstrating its power.
I shout, Lenathan, stop your attacks!
So all of you understand Draconic. Doomstinger has no idea what's going on. Stillpit also has no idea what's going on. The dragon, in the middle of a booing fury, turns and snaps its jaws at you.
Rendelonthos.
Mix's inner monologue was, whoa, does the dragon know Marin?
It speaks in Draconic.
What do you want?
We wish no trouble.
Trouble has come this day.
Maybe I should be asking you. What are you here for?
Toby's just kind of giving Mario, are you fucking serious? Look right now.
Mix within her confusion of what's happening, just lied of Scraw.
You see the dragon blink and visibly twitches and shakes its head, and he looks at you and says,
They have my progeny. I must do as they command.
Who makes these demands of you?
The ones that wear purple. These so-called dragon cultists. The worshippers of Tiamat and her filth. They have my progeny in a cave.
it clenches its eyes, and you can see it's struggling against something. Knowing what you know about dragons, and knowing the power and size of this particular dragon, you know that something's not adding up here.
Kind of steps closer to Morin, interrupts with all due respect, and he's talking in Draconic, they're probably not going to do as they promise. They're probably, as soon as you've fulfilled your usefulness, they're probably going to do whatever they're planning on doing if you don't do what they tell you to do.
I have no choice.
And you see now the dragon's claws are clenching into the wall as it's visibly struggling with something.
Mick interrupts. Can we do anything to help you? In Draconic, of course.
Save my progeny. Prevent them from destroying any more.
Where is he?
In a cave to the south.
The same cave that they've been taking their kidnapped villagers to work for
I
them.
believe that is likely. They have a camp, a large power over me. I am but a distraction.
Distraction
Lenison.
from what?
Do
Alright.
help you? Will you call off this attack?
And he, at that point, you see him violently shake, and he also claw away from the wall as he goes to swipe at you, and then stops.
I have served my. I have done enough.
And then he takes off, pushes back against the wall, and flies off.
Mix falls on her butt again.
As the dragon takes off, you hear a great murmuring of noise and shout coming from the tower of the keep.
So he's, well, shit, they've probably... It was a distraction as some other force tried to force their way in, most likely. Us at the front, whilst they attack from the back.
Scroll looks up and says, "A worthy challenge!" And you see him looking up in the sky, just the forlorn look. The dragon flies away, turns. Well, I suppose we should do something about whatever that is. Sadly, kind of running towards the tower.
Toby follows. There's no point, in his eyes, there's no point staying here. There's obviously another problem elsewhere.
Zilpit looks around and you go on ahead. I'll take care of helping some people here. My medicine. And he starts ministering to
as-
some guards on the ramparts.
As Toby's following behind Squirrel, he stops by Mix and goes to pull her up so that she's standing again.
A little weak in her legs, but is standing.
Doomstinger's watching the dragon and looking at Marin and looking at you guys and going, I suppose that went well then.
You could say that.
Could have gone worse.
It's like, well, we're not dead.
That's definitely a bonus, but that might still be on the cards. Let's go.
Yeah, he just looks around. He's like, shame about those ones, though. Oh, well.
It ain't me and it ain't Morin, so I don't care.
Pretty much. Well, Well, I'm sure they did their best.
Can I just head to the edge and just look over to the hordes?
Yep.
Can I tell if they're backing off?
They are not. They're all just standing around and cheering as Lenathan flies away. They're like, yeah! Tiamat! You look over and no one seems to be making any moves. They're just watching the dragon like, whoa, we're gonna get you, people! Tiamat! We love her. She's great.
Oh my god.
She makes the best coffee! I make the best jokes, though.
Toby's heading towards the tower. He kind of hasn't let go of Mix. He's still holding her hand.
Dragging her along because she's stumbling like, there's the dragon, and then he talked to it, and then it went away. It was...
Not far from what's happening, so it's fine.
Toby's just trying to reassure her as he's dragging her towards the other commotion. Just like, yep, you can talk to dragons. That's totally possible. Daunting, but possible.
As you guys make your way back into the tower, you see the doctor staggering around. She's like, oh, what's all this bloody noise? Where did all of you go? I think there's something happening downstairs. We should go check it out. Did you lock the door? And he looks at Morin accusingly.
Of course I did.
Well, we should probably go and see whatever's happening down there. You can see the guards are standing around the top of the stairs. Urback and Scraw lead the way down. The guards close up and form up behind you to prevent any further breakthroughs. As you make your way down, you see that there are a group of kobolds, and you see a strange figure disappear around the corner, exploring the tunnel that you are in. I would like everybody to go ahead and roll initiative. Morin, top of initiative. You charge down into the stairs of the lower floors of the keep. The door that you locked previously is completely blown open. Previously, this area was stores that you had piled up. It was the door. Everything's just in fucking tatters. It's been blown open, and the door that was there is no longer. It's just a big gaping hole in the wall leading out to the tunnel that you previously fought the rats in.
I definitely locked it. Then I'm going to 20 feet. I'm going to try and throw a dart at this little bugger here.
You throw a dart and it catches the kobold in the throat. And he just falls to the floor, choking, spewing blood until his body comes to rest. You guys hear in the distance down the tunnel the sound of some kind of noise that's coming closer. There is also a guard, Edric, who is with the Doomsinger. It is this kobold's turn. He's very dutiful as Edric, but he is not going to take part in this fight unless he's forced to. Seeing you throw something at the kobold, this guy is going to move over here to some cover, and then he is going to take a shot at you with his slingshot. So he pings you with a stone, catches you in the eye, and leaves a cut just below on your cheekbone. And then it is this guy's turn. He sees what his friend does, tries to flank guys from this direction. You guys are all in the stairwell, so you can only really see a back. Morin and Raw, he's going to try and shoot a back. As you see a rock ping off the wall, the Doomsinger is just nonchalantly shoot this guy who's still in his line of sight with a firebolt. After all of the energy he loosed at the dragon, he sends what seems like a rather small flame, but it does travel quickly enough that it catches the kobold that appears to be looking to dart away out into cover and does some damage. He then is going to move out into the room because he doesn't like the idea of being in this big clusterfuck in a stairwell where he can't see shit. He's going to get to about here, where he's surrounded by a lot of bodies that will be better targets than he is.
Wow. I'm not surprised, but wow.
Again, footsteps down the tunnel. Toby.
Toby is going to move here so he has a better view of everything else.
You do not notice anything other than the kobolds in this room at this time.
He's going to use Eldritch Blast against this kobold.
You try and summon an Eldritch Blast, and the energy fires wide. Scraw, just like, And he saw one of the kobolds run over that way, so he's going to charge this direction. He turns to all of you and says, "There's more around here!" And he charges forward and attacks the large drake-looking creature directly in front of him. As that's the biggest thing he could find, and these kobolds are boring to fight. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't get to fight a dragon, and he wants to fight a dragon, and he can't. And this thing looks like a dragon. So he's gonna try and attack this thingy here. Draw is going to use his glaive. Roll.
Kill everything.
So you hear a as he slashes into this creature, and you go, ha ha! Mix.
I am going to Eldritch Blast that one.
You shoot an eldritch blast across the room. The kobold looks up, turns to one side as it goes past. It looks back and goes, nuts and dick.
Sass.
Arabat sees the creature that is wounded that you just tried to attack after the flame of Doomsinger's firebolt hits it, and he is going to use Toll the Dead. You see the kobold, it turns, it looks, he goes, nuts and dick.
That's amazing.
As it clutches its head and screeches as blood begins to pour out of its ears. Murren,
There's a guy behind us, right?
you probably did see him rush over that, yeah.
I'm gonna meet it and
Yep, okay, go ahead and roll a perception check for me before you continue. You see Edric rush down the stairs towards the door,
Oh shit.
which is blown apart, and it's still kind of hanging there on its hinges. It's in definite pieces. In his little Novum form, he sits down, crosses his legs, and starts focusing, and he begins going with a slight energy. And you see the bits of the door that are shattered around start glowing and slowly moving back towards the door. He looks up and says, hold them off as long as you can. Keep me safe. What do you do?
all right. I'm going to attack this fella here.
You just bring up
Opening.
mace, and you turn to see Edric sitting down and saying, protect me, keep me safe, hold them off as long as you can. And then you turn and you go, righto. You smash him with the mace. And
Righto.
the kobold just drops to the ground. I will do this. I will keep you safe.
I'll just stand by Edric to meet anything that
Okay,
tries to come through. Can I just
sorry?
shout, there's more coming through down here?
So this kobold runs over and tries to stab you with its dagger. And then the guy next to him team up with his feet and go, yeah, get him. So, yeah. Parry it away with your mace. You're like, parry after parry, these blows.
I say, not today.
Acolyte, what can you do? You can cast spells. Hey,
Oh,
that's
fuck.
great.
No, it's not.
You begin to hear a chanting in Draconic coming from behind you guys in the direction Scrawl ran in. This ambush Drake now attacks Scrawl. Drake, but he's like, back, foul creature! This kobold, he figures the ambush Drake has got this covered. He is going to ping a rock at Toby.
Yay.
Evil.
A natural 20.
Oh, that definitely hits. It's not going to do huge, but that's like half his HP.
It's not huge damage. It's just Toby's puny. The rock collides with the side of your head and it smashes one of your horn. Like, it doesn't smash it, but it catches it and knocks your head to one side. And your head is just ringing as you are hit.
Another one like that, he's going to be practically dead.
Doomsinger is going to saunter over here, I think. What you got there, priest?
A lot more cultists.
Very well. Like, have you tried burning them? Firebolts. The kobold that he successfully stabbed, actually neither of them successfully stabbed you, but they did try. The first one in front of you just incinerates. This cultist pushes past its comrade. It's going to get into that space that's just opened up. It stands over the incinerated ashes of the kobold. For Tiamat, your blood will spill this night. That's a 5. Brings his scimitars down at you, but unsuccessfully. This kobold uses all of its movement to get up to you, but cannot get past you. There's an armored-looking guard standing behind kobolds, and he tries to make it, but they're all under. He's like, "Get back, blasted fiends! I'm trying to get in here. You're worthless. I am worth 10 of you. Move out of my way." But they won't. Beneath his mask, he scowls, brings out a spear instead, and launches it into the room. His view of you, Murren, is obscured, so he is instead going to throw his spear over your shoulder and try and hit the Doomsinger.
Oh.
Catches a spear in the shoulder, and he cries out in pain, slamming against the wall behind him.
Oof.
He's looking really rough right now. He's very peaky.
Toby is gonna move over here a bit.
You are now aware of the ambush Drake that Scraw is fighting and the Acolyte. And because obviously now he's chanting as well. You turn and you see another member of what would have to be the Dragon Cult. And he is glowing with a faint black aura and chanting in Draconic what appears to be a prayer to Tiamat.
Well, that's obviously bad, so he's gonna attack the Acolyte with Eldritch Blast.
You whip out an Eldritch Blast, but his concentration does not seem to fade. He takes the hit. You notice that the kobold and the drake that are with him or near him are also glowing with a faint black aura.
Toby shouts to Scraw to attack the Acolyte. Forget the green dragony thing and attack the Acolyte.
See Scraw look over his shoulder and go, why?
Because he's more dangerous! He just shouts back like, he's more dangerous, kill him.
You sure?
I'm very
He doesn't
sure.
look dangerous.
He's really dangerous. Just having this argument of just trying to convince Scraw to attack the Acolyte.
But he's so puny.
Trust me, he's really dangerous. He's going to make everything...
Go ahead and roll a persuasion check. He is not persuaded.
No!
He's just like, no. I will continue to fight the drake.
Toby is dragging his hands down his face.
You see Scraw bring his glaive down on the drake, and you just see it spark as it scrapes along the scales, but does not actually appear to cause any damage. Next.
I'll take it that she witnessed Toby telling Scraw to attack the Acolyte. I move over here. Right next to Toby, where it's safe.
As you rush by to try and work out what the Acolyte is, the kobold lashes out with a dagger and cuts you in the knee.
Oops.
So you can see a creepy black glowing Acolyte, you can see a creepy black glowing kobold, and a creepy black glowing dragon beast.
Nyx knows Toby well enough to listen when Toby is adamant about something, so she's gonna try and attack the Acolyte, chanting, glowing, scary looking
The
thing.
Alcala. As you round the corner, you see the figure glowing and chanting is a very slightly built cultist wearing a dragon mask that you are already familiar with. You hit him with an Eldritch Blast. He is looking very rough on his feet. He is still standing, still maintaining concentration. This kobold manages to break past you, Murren, and is going to attack you from behind. Arbak is looking around, trying to assess the situation. He is going to attack the one that just broke through, as that seems like a good idea. He is going to chill touch the creature. You guys see him summon a skeletal hand as he turns, grasps, and the kobold that tried to stab Murren drops to the floor. Murren, as you stand there fending off the acolytes and the kobolds that are trying to push past you, you turn and see Edric focusing, and the door is becoming more and more substantial, but it still appears to be a long ways off being anything that would form a permanent barrier.
I'm going to attack this cultist here with a mace.
So you bring up your mace and you smash him in the knee, and he buckles, but is still standing. You hear him cry out. He's like, ah! Slime! Half-breed filth!
And I'm going to follow that up with an unarmed strike. That's a natural 20.
You overhear the slur that he throws your way and clench your fist a little bit tighter as you muster all your rage and slam your fist to the side of his skull. He slams into the wall and his body collapses to the ground. This kobold charges through the room past you, tries to stab you from behind again. Tiamat will have you! And this acolyte. Nick, you see the acolyte open its eyes suddenly after receiving the from your spell, and it glows with a deep, dark, black, radiant light, then flows over its entire body. You see him looking like he feels rejuvenated. The Drake, now engaged, Scraw is going to snap him again. Scraw slams the glaive into the creature's mouth and prevents it from clamping down. The kobold, seeing you ganging up the acolyte, is going to rush over and just stab you. Doomsinger just holding him. He's like, you little bastards!
Doomsinger is going to cast Firebolt on this dude right in front of him.
So he tries, but the close proximity of the kobold throws him off. He's taken so much damage, he's afraid of getting hurt more, and he is not able to focus on the creature in front of him. This kobold It's going to try and break into the room. It's going to move over here and try again to attack you. Their main goal here is get into the room. And now this guard is going to come towards you. He's quite large and sturdy looking. I'd say he's at least 6.5, 7 foot tall, covered in sharp-looking armor. Now you face me, not this filth. And he is going to attack you at close range with his spear, which he pulls from us. He tries to jab at you with a spear, but you actually are knocked back from the damage by the kobold, and it swishes by you. Hold still, worm! This cultist is going to rush forwards, and they're just going to keep slamming at you, dude. You're standing. Toby.
Yeah,
The room is
he's
starting
gonna...
to fill with kobolds on the inside of the room. You hear Murren and Doomsinger shouting out in pain as they take various attacks.
He still thinks the acolyte in front of him is the bigger problem. So he's gonna attack him again. Eldritch Blast.
You see this little kobold trying to stab Nyx and glowing with a black aura. You see this creep snapping its jaws at Scraw, and you see this scrawny but focused looking cultist that has been healing itself and glowing with a deep dark aura, and you blast it with an Eldritch Blast, and it takes him off his feet. He crumples to the ground. The black aura fades from the two other creatures.
Toby would whoop if he's the kind of person that would whoop, but he is not.
Mix will whoop for Toby.
Toby
A medieval
smiles
whoop.
with a half smile, smirks a little to himself. Self-satisfied grin.
Besting another spellcaster is the best.
That cultist is just going to get into the fray, ready to attack if he gets the opportunity. Draw sees the like crumple and goes, "Huh, knew it." Attacks the Drake in front of him. He brings his glaive down and slams it into the side of the creature. It roars in pain and bites down on his glaive as it is still standing. Mix.
Yeah.
It's like, ha, worthy foe! So it's trying to stab you. It's like, and you just grab your hands together and shove it into its face as you unleash an Eldritch Blast. Kobold is blasted back into the wall. Its body crumples.
I will move closer to where the Doomsinger and Co is.
Murren, you're not doing a very good but holding that door. Here, let me help you. He's actually going to try and reach past Murren and go for the cultist in the wall there with chill touch.
Ice, ice, baby.
Cultist shivers violently and looks pained, but doesn't react verbally. Murren, you look at Edric, and the door is now almost completely formed, although it is not closed. It's looking like a solid structure at this point.
I'm going to go for this guy.
As you see the skeletal hand manifest itself and sort of pass through this guy, you see his skin turn ashen as he loses a lot of the blood from the surface of his skin. And you bring up your mace, and as you swing it down on his head, you see him slowly look to react to it, but he doesn't have time to even try and defend himself as you bring the mace square into his face and he crumples to the ground. He is dead. You bring up your fist, you go, ah! And it collides with the steel plate that he's wearing and kind of hurts, like he winces slightly as the impact. He goes, ha ha! Kobold behind you is actually now seeing the members of his party dropping. He's actually going to try and dash over here. And yes, he will take the attack of opportunity from you, try and attack Abak because he believes Abak to be a threat. As he charges across the room in an attempt to stop Abak, you whip around with your mace and catch him in the back of the skull, and his body just goes limp and falls to the ground. So he does not successfully attack Abak because he is successfully dead. The Drake attacks Scraw once more. This is the most dangerous thing in this entire room, and it hasn't done a single fuck thing. Doomsinger is going to try and hit this kobold. Kobold toast.
It's like Marmite.
It's this guard's go, and he's going to attack you, Murren.
I'm down.
You guys watch as this guard slams a spear through Murren's shoulder, and he cries out, collapses from the pain. Toby.
I'm assuming I can't actually see the guard from where I am and just saw this spear.
No, you can't. Not at the moment.
I'm going to still touch that motherfucker.
Does not hit. You try and manifest the skeletal hand, and you do so, but it passes through the steel, and you see him shiver slightly. Then he turns and looks at you and goes, huh, a mage.
What the fuck's that supposed to mean?
He clarified afterwards. He thinks you're pathetic.
Because I'm a mage, or because
Yes,
my mage
because you're a mage
is
and you don't fight with physical aptitude.
Apparently I don't fight with
This
magical
cultist is
aptitude
gonna
either.
rush forward and he's gonna stab Murren on the ground. Just two failed.
Would it make any difference if I pointed out my relentless endurance?
So you drop to the ground and you're still prone, but fight through the pain and bellow out with orcish fury as that part of you comes to the forefront and saves your life. The cultist tries to attack you on the ground, but you manage to roll side to side, dodging blows. Scraw's gonna fucking hit this fucking lizard. No, he's not. Mix, what you doing?
I'm gonna hit the thing that's right in front of Murren.
That is a cultist. But yes.
Yes, they're going down. Eldritch Blast. Ooh. Wahahaha.
Collapse to the ground. Then watching the cultist trying to stab the shit out of him on the ground, she rushes over and Eldritch blasts into the tunnel. His body goes flying out into the darkness. Murren, you can no longer see where he is, but don't believe him to be a threat any longer. Go back, wanders over here, and he looks down at you, Murren. Need a hand, and he is going to use the remainder of his movement to help you get to your feet. And then he turns to the guard and says, I think you better be off. Don't think you've got much of a chance here. He's just going to chill touch. I think you should leave. You are nothing to me. You and your filth magic. Murren,
I'm on my feet, yes.
you are on your feet.
I'm going to size up this guy, try to take him out, and I say, Edric, hurry!
He looks
It was
up and says,
Edric, wasn't
the spell is complete.
Oh.
It's the door's fixed. And you notice that he has stopped glowing and that no more pieces of door. You also notice, however, there appear to be no more coming down this tunnel as far as you can tell. You listen carefully as this guy's like, your filth, your magic means nothing. Doesn't look like he's got any reinforcements coming. Things are pretty quiet. You do see in the distance, at the other end of the tunnel, a glimmer of light that is a bit larger than you would expect for the barred door that you know that you locked previously.
I'm going to try and attack this guy.
That takes him out. So you smash him with a mace and he drops with more slurs caught in his mouth as he drops to the ground. From your current vantage point, ultimately what you can see is that the gate at the end of the tunnel appears to be open at the other end. But it also does seem like the tunnel itself is empty.
I shout back, I think we're all clear over here. Would I be able to drag the dude I just dropped, like, inside?
The Drake is going to go ahead and attack. Scroll screams. As this Drake clamp its jaws down on his leg. Doomsinger looks around and says, I don't know about you, but I'm done here. Toby.
Yeah, he's gonna go check on Scroll.
You rush over as Scroll's shouting out, and you see that the ambush Drake has his leg in a vice-like grip between its jaws.
Yeah, he's gonna chill touch that motherfucker.
You watch as the skeletal hand just passes through the Drake, and it seems completely unfazed.
Toby is starting to wonder if he
Scraw-
should have taken a different discipline.
Scraw gets both hands, clasps them together, slams down on the chair over and over again, trying to get it to break its grip. That's one dead fucking Drake as he pounds his glaive into the top of the Drake's skull. It splits and lets go of his leg. He kicks it away.
Permanently.
Turns to you. A dragon would have been better.
Toby's he doesn't think he has the energy to explain to Scraw that the other guy was clearly casting a spell or ritual of some kind and thus was more dangerous. He
Just
doesn't
like,
think he's
wasn't
getting it.
even blue. Oh, it looks like I missed a lot of fun over here.
Yeah,
Well
you
fought,
could
friends.
say that.
It's just looking around at all the bodies. You did well. I say we go down the tunnel and find some more.
Toby's like, no, I suggest
No.
we close that door and barricade it.
There's another door at the end. I just think if the other door, we should close both doors. More chance of not having to fight again.
Toby looks at Scraw and he looks at the rest of the party, some of whom are not in a great condition. He's not in a great condition, and he just looks back at Scraw like, I'm not sure we could handle another
I'm
one
just
of those.
thinking about the people.
Are you thinking about the people, or are you thinking about more fighting?
I do not want any more fighting. Look at our friends. They are not doing well, but think if there were 2 doors preventing entry, that would be much better
I feel like this
than
is
one.
pointless, but insight check.
Yeah, yeah, he's being honest his own way. He's not lying. He's hoping that maybe there might be more fights at the end of the tunnel, but he's also thinking that if they manage to get through to this door, maybe the other door is also broken, which would make the keep more vulnerable, and he's sort of concerned that it should be checked just in case. But he does also secretly hope that maybe there's a fight at the end of the tunnel.
He can tell that Squirrel's being honest in his own way, and his heart's in the right place, but Toby's not sure that the rest of them could survive another fight if there is one at the end of the tunnel. Especially if it's more than what they just took care of.
Well, looking down the tunnel, there doesn't seem to be any...
Yeah, you do not see or hear any signs of further intrusion at this point, but you do see that the door at the other end of the tunnel does appear to at least be partially damaged and wide open.
What is your opinion?
I'll try to dash through the tunnel and lock the gate.
You start heading down the tunnel. Squirrel decides he's going to go with you, but he really, really, really wants to go just in case.
I mean, I feel better with him.
Edric actually goes with you because if there is any damage, he knows the cantrip mending, so he goes down with you. You get there, and the door is definitely in a state where it looks like it's damaged beyond repair under normal circumstances. However, the door that you just watched a man glow back together was in shrapnel, so you guys keep an eye out. Edric does his mending thing. He just keeps casting it. It takes a couple minutes. He manages to restore the iron grated gate, at which point you fasten it shut, lock it up. Just head down the tunnel, and Edric says, I think we get the captain and him to send some of our smiths to reinforce build everything. I'm not sure how well my mending is helped, but I'm sure it's fine. So the Doomsinger looks around you all and says, well, this is all well and good. Quite frankly, I need a doctor. Obak looks up, hopefully, and he looks at him and says, not you.
Beaten and bloody, the party has survived one more encounter on this grueling night. But how much more can they handle? Find out next time in Episode 7, The Champions Roar. If you'd like a shout-out next episode, be sure to share our post on Twitter @DarkDragonsIn, or better yet, leave us a review on iTunes and let us know. We can't wait to hear from you. The track at the beginning of this episode was Extravaganza by TRG Banks, and the track you're listening to now is While You Are Here by Ending Satellites. Until next time, travel safe, and remember, the scales of justice are here for you, always.